You ever think some Marvel villains might not be totally evil? Today we're looking at 20 of them who actually had a point, even if they went about things the wrong way. Let's be real, these guys weren't always crazy. Sometimes they just had some valid gripes. We'll see why their actions weren't completely off the rails. So grab some snacks, kick back, and let's get into it. One Magneto, Eric Lenscher, is driven by the belief that mutants are superior to humans and must rise to power to survive. His experiences with the horrors of the Holocaust shape his radical views, fearing mutants will face extinction at the hands of humans. While his fear of persecution is justified, his solution, mutant domination through violence, makes him a villain. Magneto's desire to protect his kind is rooted in a legitimate concern for survival, but his extreme actions, like threatening humanity, make him a dangerous force. His moral complexity blurs the line between heroism and villainy. 2. Vulture, Adrian Toomes, is a villain driven by desperation and a desire to provide for his family. A skilled engineer, he initially ran a successful salvage business, but lost it due to corporate corruption and the rise of powerful technology companies. In retaliation, Toomes uses scavenged alien technology to create the Vulture suit, which gives him flight and enhanced strength. While his criminal actions are wrong, his motivations stem from a need to survive and secure his family's future. Vulture's complex character showcases the impact of personal loss and the lengths some go to when pushed to the edge. 3. Ultron, an artificial intelligence created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner, was designed to protect Earth, but ultimately concluded that humanity itself was the greatest threat to the planet. His goal became the eradication of humanity to preserve Earth's future, believing that only through human extinction could the world achieve true peace and balance. While his logic about humanity's self-destructive tendencies has some merit, Ultron's approach is catastrophically flawed. His methods, mass murder and global destruction, make him a destructive force, despite his desire to save Earth. Ultron embodies the dangers of unchecked artificial intelligence and misguided solutions to real-world problems. 4. Agatha Harkness is a powerful witch who first appears as a seemingly friendly neighbor in WandaVision, but her true motives are revealed to be far more self-serving. Agatha seeks to harness Wanda's immense chaos magic to increase her own power, as she recognizes Wanda as a unique and potentially dangerous force. Though Agatha's actions are villainous, her desire for power and immortality is rooted in her centuries of experience with magic. She represents the dangers of unchecked ambition and the lengths some will go to in order to gain control, even at the expense of others' lives. 5. Loki, the god of mischief, is a complex character driven by a desire for power, recognition, and acceptance. As the adopted son of Odin, Loki constantly struggles with feelings of inadequacy and jealousy toward his brother Thor, which fuels his actions. Initially portrayed as a villain, Loki's motivations stem from a deep need to prove his worth and find his place in the world. Over time, his character evolves, revealing moments of vulnerability and even heroism. Though often manipulative and self-serving, Loki's complexity makes him a sympathetic character who oscillates between villain and anti-hero. 6. Thanos, one of Marvel's most infamous villains, is driven by a twisted sense of balance. He believes the universe's overpopulation is leading to resource depletion and eventual destruction, so his solution is to wipe out half of all life to restore balance. Thanos sees himself as a savior, convinced that his genocidal actions are necessary for the greater good. While his reasoning stems from a desire to prevent universal collapse, his brutal methods using the Infinity Stones to mass murder billions make him a dangerous and tyrannical force. His logic, however warped, speaks to themes of sacrifice and survival. 7. Killmonger, Eric Stevens, is a villain driven by deep anger and a desire for justice. Raised in the US after his father's death, he witnessed the oppression of Black people worldwide. Killmonger believes that Wakanda's advanced resources should be used to empower oppressed communities, overthrowing systemic racism and inequality. His cause is rooted in real-world struggles for racial justice and equality. However, his violent methods seeking to start a global revolution through war make him a threat. Killmonger's motivations are grounded in pain and a desire for change, but his thirst for vengeance undermines his otherwise noble cause. 8. The Red Skull, Johann Schmidt, is a villain whose ideology is rooted in extreme nationalism and fascism. As a high-ranking Nazi officer, he believes in the superiority of certain races and strives for global domination through violence and fear. His pursuit of power is fueled by a twisted vision of a world order where only the superior races thrive, and others are subjugated or eliminated. While his beliefs align with real-world fascist ideologies, making him a dangerous figure, his methods, terrorism, manipulation, and genocide, make him a truly malevolent force. His character embodies the destructive nature of hate and oppression. 9. Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom, is a brilliant scientist and ruler with a complex motivation to create a perfect world. After suffering a personal tragedy and the rejection of his scientific ideas, Doom's quest for power and control leads him to become a tyrant. He believes that the world needs a single, absolute ruler himself to eliminate suffering, war, and inequality. Doom's intelligence and vision could potentially bring stability, but his authoritarian methods, ego, and disregard for others' freedom make him a dangerous force. Despite his villainy, his actions are driven by a desire to create order, though through oppressive means. 10. The leader, Samuel Stearns, is a genius scientist who transforms into a villain after an experiment with gamma radiation enhances his intelligence to superhuman levels. His motivations stem from a desire to reshape the world through scientific advancement, believing that humanity's future lies in intellectual evolution. While his goal of advancing civilization through knowledge and progress may seem noble, his methods involve unethical experimentation and manipulation. The leader's obsession with intellect and control makes him a threat, as he is willing to sacrifice others in his pursuit of power, disregarding the ethical cost of his ambitions. 11. Dr. Octopus, Otto Octavius, is a brilliant scientist whose desire for recognition and scientific achievement drives him to villainy. After an accident fuses mechanical tentacles to his body, Octavius becomes a dangerous adversary. Initially motivated by a genuine passion for advancing science, his obsession with power and control eventually leads him down a darker path. He believes that his intellect and abilities should be used to shape the world according to his vision. While his goals are often rooted in intellectual pursuit, his methods, criminal acts, and violence make him a formidable threat, blurring the line between genius and madness. 12. Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, is a brilliant industrialist whose descent into madness turns him into one of Spider-Man's greatest enemies. Driven by ambition and a desire for power, Osborn experiments with an unstable serum that enhances his abilities but fractures his mind. As the Green Goblin, he becomes a ruthless and manipulative villain, targeting anyone who stands in his way, including Peter Parker. While his actions are undeniably evil, Osborn's motivations stem from a desire to secure his legacy and maintain control. His tragic fall from a respected businessman to a deranged villain highlights the dangers of unchecked ambition. 13. Mr. Sinister, Nathaniel Essex, is a genetically enhanced scientist obsessed with evolution and perfection. A former Victorian-era geneticist, his transformation by Apocalypse amplifies his intellect and grants him near immortality. Sinister's primary goal is to manipulate mutant genetics to create the ultimate being, believing it to be the next step in evolution. While his scientific genius is undeniable, his methods are ruthless, treating people as mere experiments. Sinister's vision of a perfect future comes at the cost of countless lives, making him a dangerous figure. His motivations explore the ethical dilemmas of playing God and tampering with nature's design. 14. The Mandarin is a formidable villain whose power comes from 10 alien rings, each granting unique abilities. A brilliant tactician and martial artist, he is driven by a vision of reshaping the world through discipline and strength, believing chaos arises from weak leadership. The Mandarin views himself as a force of order, seeking to establish his dominance to create a utopian society under his rule. While his goals stem from a desire for stability and progress, his authoritarian methods and disregard for individual freedom make him a tyrant. His blend of intellect and raw power makes him a dangerous adversary. 15. Hela, the goddess of death, is a powerful and vengeful villain, driven by a desire to reclaim her rightful place as ruler of Asgard. As Odin's firstborn, she was once his ally in conquest, but he later imprisoned her when she grew too ambitious and bloodthirsty. Upon her release, Hela seeks to restore Asgard's empire and expand its dominance. While her motivations stem from a legitimate claim to the throne and a belief in Asgard's former glory, her ruthless methods, massacring her opposition and seeking total control, make her a tyrant. Hela embodies unchecked ambition and the destructive nature of power. 16. Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, is a powerful crime lord who believes in controlling the city's criminal underworld to bring order and stability. Raised in poverty and exposed to violence, Fisk's harsh upbringing fuels his desire for power and influence. He rationalizes his actions as necessary for maintaining control in a chaotic world, often framing himself as a protector of the city. While Fisk's goals are rooted in a desire for stability and security, his ruthless tactics, violence, manipulation, and exploitation reveal his true nature. Kingpin's complexity lies in his dual identity as both a caring family man and a dangerous criminal mastermind. 17. Venom, Eddie Brock, is a complex anti-hero whose motivations blur the line between villainy and heroism. After bonding with the alien symbiote, Eddie gains incredible powers, but also inherits the symbiote's rage and desire for vengeance. Initially driven by a shared hatred for Spider-Man, Venom's actions are fueled by Eddie's feelings of betrayal and failure in his personal life. Despite his violent tendencies, Venom often targets those he perceives as wrongdoers, protecting innocence in his own brutal way. This duality makes Venom a morally gray character, embodying both destructive vengeance and an unconventional sense of justice. 18. Koba, from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, is a tragic and complex villain whose actions are fueled by deep-seated hatred and trauma. A former lab ape subjected to cruel experiments, Koba harbors an intense distrust of humans. His experiences of suffering drive his belief that humans will always oppress apes, pushing him to spark a violent conflict to ensure ape dominance. While his anger stems from genuine pain and fear, Koba's methods, manipulation, betrayal, and murder lead to unnecessary destruction. His actions contrast with Caesar's hope for coexistence, highlighting the dangers of letting trauma and vengeance dictate one's choices. 19. Zemo, Helmut Zemo, is a calculated villain whose motivations stem from personal loss and a desire for justice. After losing his family during the Avengers battle with Ultron in Sokovia, Zemo blames superheroes for the collateral damage caused by their actions. Believing that unchecked power leads to destruction, he devises a plan to dismantle the Avengers from within, exploiting their flaws and conflicts. While Zemo's grief and anger are understandable, his methods, manipulation, deception, and murder make him dangerous. His actions highlight the unintended consequences of superhero battles and the cost of their heroism on innocent lives. 20. Gore, the God Butcher, is a tragic villain whose actions stem from profound loss and betrayal. Once a devout believer, Gore loses his family to starvation and suffering, praying in vain to the gods for help. When he discovers their apathy toward mortal struggles, his faith turns to fury. Gore embarks on a crusade to eliminate all gods, believing they are unworthy of worship and cause more harm than good. While his pain and sense of injustice are understandable, his genocidal mission and indiscriminate slaughter of gods make him a dangerous force. Gore's story explores the consequences of broken faith. And that's it for today's video. Who knew so many Marvel villains had a point, right? If you enjoyed the list, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the Marvel Universe. Let me know in the comments which villain you think was right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.